Hello, Libra. Welcome to your April 2023 astrology forecast. So let's take a look at what's coming up for the rest of April here. We didn't have an extraordinarily eventful beginning of April. We had Mercury coming into Taurus. We had a full moon in Libra. But right now, I think we're building to the big stuff. Okay, so what's going on here? First and foremost, we have Mercury right now in pre-shadow. What this means is this is the 2-week period of time before a retrograde. So Mercury is already starting to slow down. For you, this is happening in your 8th house. This retrograde officially begins on the 21st of April. And for you in the 8th house, this feels like a lot of determination for me. Determination for Libra to grow and to make the changes that you've been thinking about for a really long time. With Venus coming into Gemini, it's going to activate this 9th house. And so the real value that we're placing, or the things that we're placing true value onto, if I could talk, this Mercury retrograde is making me so tongue twisted, is really our freedom and our expansion. Okay, 9th house, and this could be freedom of mind, right? Or it could be freedom of a life experience where we are wanting greater abundance for ourselves so that we no longer feel tied or tethered to a particular circumstance or a way of being. 8th house can certainly do a number on you in terms of pushing you through that change. It's not always, the 8th house is a tough house a lot of times. And this may have a lot to do with other people that are involved in your life as well, Libra. It could be, people that you're married to. It could be people you're in a family with, or people you work with, people you share money with. It could be institutions that you are legally bound to, banks, people that give out loans. It could be taxes, right? Working with the IRS, that kind of thing. If there's anything that has been making you feel like you're drowning, or making you feel like you can't get out from under something, chances are this particular Mercury retrograde is going to give you insight in terms of how to get out. And I like the fact that this is how oriented, because a lot of times in my readings, I say, don't worry about how this is going to happen. Just think about, we're doing like law of attraction-y type stuff. So you don't really want to worry about how. But once in a while, you get this lightning bolt of inspiration that says, this is how to do it. And when those moments happen and it feels effortless and it feels possible, by all means, go do that, okay? Because I get a feeling with the Uranian influence here, okay? Mercury is going to be coming up to the 15 degrees of Taurus mark. 15 degrees, very close to Uranus, not exactly on top, but we're certainly going to be feeling the Uranian influence here. And it's going to shake everything up, and it's going to cause our minds to open in different ways. I do see a lot of brilliance and genius coming through with Uranus. Also chaos and disruption and all of that. So it's kind of one and of the same. The brilliance and the genius ideas are the disruption. And then there's a pathway quality. With Venus in Gemini and even Mars in Cancer, this is about the way, right? The way to get out of something, the way to evolve, and I think that feels nice. It feels nice to know that there is a way out. We also have this eclipse. So let's talk about the dates on all of this, all right? So the moon is right here, moving through Sag. It's going to move through all these zodiac signs. It's going to come back into Aries, and we're going to have a total solar eclipse, which is a new moon total solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Aries. In the United States, that is happening on the 19th. In Europe and over through Australia, it'll be happening on the 20th. So on the 19th, very late in the evening, we have this eclipse. The Mercury retrograde begins on the 21st. So basically at this time of the eclipse, Mercury is not moving at all. So all the emphasis is being placed on this eclipse at 29 degrees of Aries, which is Mars ruled. And we have Mars in his fall position over here in Cancer. So there does seem to be an efforting right now for Libra, like you're willing and able and energetic enough and mentally aware enough to put the effort in to get yourself out of something. And with Aries, the will to do it is very strong. And because it's a new moon, which does have its own manifestation qualities, this is about initiating something, initiating a new pathway to help you get out from under the things that you have been buried under for a long time. And I do sense fear with that. I also, because for some it might require a monetary investment that you might not necessarily be super excited to make. Excuse me, hold on. Sometimes when we have to invest in something, that was the only hang up, right? We had to give over a big chunk of cash in order to take care of a problem that will help accelerate everything. But maybe that big chunk of cash was a scary amount and it made us really nervous, right? So there's hope with this particular astrology cycle. There's hope because Pluto down here, who is also stationing retrograde, okay, during the last week and a half of April, Pluto is barely moving as well. Last week of April, Mercury is already retrograde, so we'll be feeling that going on between Uranus and the North Node here. And then Pluto standing still, but he's doing so in your 5th house of creation. And this is giving you that sense of self-belief. And yeah, there's fear there because Pluto often brings fear, but there's also intense desire. And it really is the battle of desire versus fear. Do you desire it enough to act in spite of your fear? Right? And I think many Libras do. You desire that growth, you desire that life more than you want to be afraid of what it's going to take to get it. And because Pluto activates the 5th, there's a lot of creativity and you can depend on yourself to be creative. So I think that self-dependence, also we have Saturn in the 6th house here as well, which is really industrious. Mars in the 10th. This is a story of Libra taking control of their own life. And I'm not saying you never have before, but this is a different level of taking responsibility and facing and confronting the things that you've allowed to encroach in or violate your dreams, if you will. And you're kind of putting your foot down and you're saying no to this circumstance, no to this mindset, no to this person. I'm not going to let this person or institution or whatever control me. And I'm not going to let fear get the best of me. I am going to make my life happen regardless of what's going on over here. All right. So there is a lot of power and strength for Libra that's available to you. It just depends on how ready you are. I think some Libras are going to really cower to the fear. They're going to hold back. They're going to be a little bit more reserved and whatnot. And, it's just going to delay everything. And if someone's not ready, then that's fine. So if you're cross-watching for a Libra and you're like, no way my Libra is taking the reins, well, then they're just sort of falling into the fear and they're not stepping up with themselves and they're not investing in their future and they're not looking toward the future at all, really. They're probably just looking at the past and operating in the past. But with Venus coming into the 9th house, again, Venus is where we place value. So we are valuing the expansion, and expansion always happens in the future. So we are future focused right now and making decisions for the sake of the future and knowing full well, Saturn in the 6th, that we are capable of making it happen. Okay? So it is going to be an intense last part of April, I think, as we build up this week and maybe even next week a little bit, it'll be fine. But the real volatility begins around I'd say like the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, okay? When we have the Mercury retrograde and the eclipse going on. Okay? All right, Libra, thank you so much. You guys know how much I love and adore you. Have an amazing month, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.